Hey everybody, welcome to the Cancer full moon reading that's going to be happening on January 17th of 2022. Of course, Cancer is ruled by the moon, so a normal moon already impacts us because, like we always say, we're water, and the moon, the tides change, our inner world changes. So with the full moon happening, just imagine the amplification of whatever emotion that you're going to be feeling around the time is going to be feeling huge. So just keep that in mind as the full moon comes in, and focus on what you want to amplify. And if you're amplifying a dark shadow emotion and you want to feel it deep, but just know that if you want to switch it up, you do have the ability to switch your focus onto a different emotion to amplify that instead. So this is what we're going to look at first, just real quick on this intro. Just the full moon in general has a cycle, not only like about every month, 28, 29 days, the moon phases from the new moon to the full moon. It also goes through this huge 6-month-ish rotation from the new moon in the sign to the full moon in the sign. So the last new moon that happened in Cancer is actually back on July 9th of 2021. So if you go back and look at what was going on around that time for you, because that energy was about new beginnings in our private life, like forward movement in our connections with people or connections with places that we hold dear. So really relationships and that home feeling, and also could have been around your self-care, because this is all about your private inner world, the Cancer sign, the moon, nurturing type energy as well. So when you're looking back and seeing what was beginning then when we look into the full moon in Cancer, then you can look at what is leaving you, it's like this culmination. Whatever seeds you planted during the new moon have come to a harvest, and now you're harvesting it. Then you're like, okay, what am I wanting to remove based on my journey over the last 6 months? Because now you're going to be on the 6-month journey on your inner world from this full moon to the next new moon in Cancer this year. So this energy of the full moon in Cancer can bring these feelings as if things are being resolved, or you're receiving revelations of the emotionally hidden, because the moon energy does help us get into the subconscious, the unconscious, kind of step behind the veil. So you might also have these feelings as soon as those revelations come in, because it is bringing you this inner conclusion, this inner resolution. So you might feel like, okay, I get it, all is well, or you feel at least that it soon will be. So for this reading today, for each of the zodiac signs, we're going to be looking at what emotions are you ready to let go of? What emotional waters are you ready to travel on now that you've made this journey halfway? So we're going to go ahead and jump into your specific reading right now. All right, my Leos, this is your Cancer full moon reading. And we're going to start off by pulling a card here from the Ancestral Path Tarot. And this is just going to be overall for this 3-week period around this full moon, what the Creator wants you to know, just about what emotion you're ready to let go of. So for our Leos, what's the overall message here? Okay, this is going to be your card here. And you have the 7 of Cups. And this is great. Cups, of course, are your emotions. And the 7 of Cups usually represents like confusion around what emotions you want to choose, what you want to experience in a given situation. But you can see here, I love this, the way they interpret this one, because you've zeroed in on a specific emotion, and you're going to be making this emotional decision during this 3-week period. So what you're ready to let go of is the confusion, is the hesitancy in making that emotional decision. We're also going to pull cards here from the Naked Hearts Tarot and just get the overall energies for each of the weeks. So the week before the full moon, the week after the full moon, and 2 weeks after this full moon. So, all right. So for Leos, for the week before the full moon, what do you want them to know? Okay. It's these here, which makes sense. You got a lot kind of coming up with these energies that's coming to the surface, and then you have the full moon, and then the week after the full moon. And they want this one right here, and then the 2 weeks after the full moon. Okay. Okay, so you do have this one, and they do want these two. So we will take all the information we can get regarding this, right? So for the week before this new moon, with this confusion of the emotions, yeah, you mean you've got the Hanged Man here, which is all about seeing things from a higher perspective. So, 2022 is about really connecting to our higher selves and to our spiritual realm so much more. And this is very attuned to that you are going to be having like these, what I call the capital T truths coming into your path, coming into your mind, your heart, your soul, just everywhere in your life. And this allows you to see this situation from a totally different perspective than you thought before. You have the Ace of Pentacles. Yes. So Pentacles is the outside world. It's how you see your world, your physical world on the outside. And with the Ace of Pentacles, this is about new opportunities coming in, which makes sense because as you're seeing these things, the situation that this is dealing with, this emotional situation from a different perspective, it opens up new opportunities on the outside world. And I kind of feel, this is a general reading, so take this as you will, but it's like this emotional situation that what's been keeping you in this place of confusion and uncertainty or not making a decision is that you feel trapped. You feel like you can't make this decision because if you did, there's no way out, is the way it kind of feels. And if you make this emotional decision, they're showing this as you're seeing things from a different perspective. Suddenly, this very narrow way that you were seeing, the only way that it could happen, suddenly just bursts wide open. And so now you're seeing like all these multiple ways of seeing things, of ways that you could solve any problems that arise from this emotional decision that you make. Yeah, and here you go, 2 of Wands. So Wands is your drive, your ambition, your aha inspiration. It can be your spiritual energy too. But this is all about making plans. You have this new kind of, if the Ace of Wands would have popped up, it would have been like this new passion, this new direction. But with this new possibilities coming in, this is about you change plans, you make plans based on this new information that you're seeing. So the week before, you do see this like new way of doing things coming in, and because of that, you start going, okay, so if I do A, then I'll do B, then I'll do C, then I'll do E. And so you really start seeing the formation of your future plans come in if you make this emotional decision. And then the full moon hits, and then the week after the full moon, you got the Lovers. This also represents making an emotional decision, an emotional choice. So that's the way this card is going to be for this reading, because that's exactly what we've been talking about. And so once you've seen the way out and you see like, okay, you feel confident to make the emotional decision the week after the full moon, which brings you into the second week after the full moon. And you'll see this 5 of Wands. Often when we first look at it, it looks like conflict. And the 5 is all about change. It's all about transformation, a new way of looking at things. And so what I normally see when I pull this card is I see this little kung fu movie going on in my head where there's 5 people and they all have these staves and they're, like battling each other, and you're like, oh my gosh, they're trying to hurt one another, and this is like a serious kung fu battle, right? You even hear the kung fu fighting song playing in the background, and it's like, oh my gosh. And finally, one is left standing, the other four are laying down on the ground exhausted, and then they all start laughing, they all help each other up, and they all put the wands to the side, their staves to the side, and they just all buddy walk arm in arm, and as they head off to this mess hall. And suddenly this conflict, this appearance of conflict, metamorphoses, and it changes. You see that it's actually Zen Buddhist monks that were helping each other improve their skills. They weren't trying to hurt one another, they were trying to help one another. And so the energy of the situation transforms from like this firestorm that's going on here to where you move to the eye of that storm, and you see the peace, you see things from a different perspective here. And so as you make this emotional decision, suddenly you see everything change, and it wasn't as if how it appeared in the beginning. And so truths come out, you see new perspectives, you see new awarenesses, which are these three cards. Yeah. So the sun, beautiful brightness, victory, you see things, everything comes out into the light, which makes total sense from what we were just talking about. And the Ace of Cups, so new emotions. Cups, of course, are emotions, like we talked about here. So you start having a new emotion. And this is the chalice. This is the Holy Grail. And this represents what comes from, like, as a gift from the Creator. The living waters fill up this chalice. And those living waters are the unconditional love of our Creator of all things. It's all the love from the other side, which, seeing things from a higher perspective, can bring in this new love, this new level of love as well, because you're going to be able to experience unconditional love instead of all these these other six cups on the bottom. I really feel those represent the human emotions that we feel from our shadow, from our fears, from our fight or flight, all those uncomfortable emotions of disappointment and sadness and anger, and this cup that you're choosing, this higher love that you're choosing, also just helps transform everything. It does give you this new perspective and clarity around your situation. And you can do that before here, and it'll make this 3-week journey such an amazing, even higher experience of contrast between these uncomfortable emotions of conditional love and the beautiful, sweet nectar of unconditional love. But if you don't do that and you experience this differently, you still will have this beautiful, brilliant, different perspective through the 3 weeks than you would if you chose unconditional love from the very beginning. Because you have the 10 of Wands, all that beautiful energy we're talking about with this wands, all that drive, that ambition, that spark, that spiritual energy, just this passion. You are ready to let go of where you were investing all of this energy before into all these emotions, and you're ready to transform them, because 10 is endings and new beginnings. So the new moon happens the week after this, and so you're going to be having this beautiful, beautiful new beginning, and the new moon that's coming up is going to help transform that. It's going to help you in that field as well. So this is beautiful. I love this because you do make an emotional decision, because you no longer feel trapped, and so you make this emotional decision the week after the full moon. And sun here is victory, 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 and the ending and the new beginning, and your whole belief about the energy around the situation, and your fear of what you think the emotional decision will end up rippling effect out. You see it from a completely different way because of all this. So I love it, I love it, I love it. So I'm going to leave the reading there. I do want to let you know, of course, that in addition to these readings, I also do monthly readings by each of the zodiac signs, weekly energy updates for each of the elements like fire signs, water signs, etc., and a variety of other readings. So if you don't want to miss out on any of those and be notified immediately when they become available, if you haven't done so already, just click the subscribe button down below and then click on that little notification bell that pops up and you can select to be notified immediately. And also, if you're enjoying these videos and you want to help share the love, if you give this video a little thumbs up and click that like button, then that just helps the mighty YouTube algorithm share the videos with other people. So never any obligation to do so, but if you feel so inclined, I would greatly appreciate that. All right, all my Leos, just know as you go throughout this 3-week period around this full moon, you are unconditionally loved by the creator of all things. And of course, I love you too. Have an amazing full moon experience, and I'm sure I'll be talking to you very soon. Until then, you take care.